Last week, I shared a couple of branding mistakes that you should avoid. And today, I'll actually be sharing some easy branding ideas that you can actually start on your own. Hi, everyone. It's Leanne Collins here, Digital Success Catalyst and owner of Marketing Leap. And today, we are talking branding. Today, I'm going to share some easy branding tips. And one of the things when it comes to branding is you've got to realize that your brand is the only thing that you actually own or that your company owns. It's more than a logo. It's basically everything that you do when you show up in the online space or the digital space. Every interaction that you have with your audience is a touch point, and it's an opportunity to connect and to tell your story. Your brand is actually the way that you communicate, and it's effectively how you communicate who you are, what your values are, and what you stand for. As I said, it's a little bit more than what you would do in the likes of Canva, where you would have some colors, some pretty fonts, and some pretty pictures. It encompasses your messaging, who you're talking to, how you show up, and actually how you put your values across to your ideal audience. 3 things that I'm actually going to share with you today is actually how to find your personalized concept or your archetype. The second thing is a way of showing up via video. And then the third thing is about being authentic and being consistent. If we talk about finding, you often hear people talking about finding your niche. Your niche is your particular target market, your particular target audience. You often hear people say you can't appeal to everyone. You're simply not going to appeal to everyone. So you have to find effectively your tribe, the people that actually get you, the people that want to work with you and that actually love what you do. And one of the ways of doing that is by creating a brand archetype. Now, this is actually working on 12 familiar characters, but it's based on a universally familiar character that actually transcends time, culture, gender, and age. Effectively becomes your brand personality, and it gives your brand and the message and the way that you come across a more personalized feel, so that people actually feel as if you're talking to them. At the end of the day, we all are inherently selfish, and people aren't really interested in you or your business. All they're interested in is what you can do for them, how you can make their life easier, how you can solve a pain point, how you can make them feel better. And that's where creating a brand archetype is a really great way to go. It's creating a character that you tell your business story to. It defines who you are, and it helps create a compelling story that people actually identify with. So the 12 different characters are the innocent, the explorer, the creator, the outlaw, the magician, the hero, the lover, the jester, the everyman or the regular guy or girl, the caregiver, the ruler, creator, and sage. Going into this is really deep diving into branding and messaging and that sort of thing. For a small business owner, generally what I recommend is to create more of a personalized concept. Think about who your dream client is. And your dream client is that one client that when you look at your business, you say, if I had 10 of them, my business would be flying. I would be sweet. It's talking to that perfect client. So when you create anything online and when you show up, you really got to turn up as if you're talking to one person, because you've got to remember that your customer avatar is a fictional character, and all they're doing is just representing your ideal client. Once you've actually fleshed out who your ideal client is, it actually helps when it comes to creating the messaging, because you understand the motivating beliefs, you understand what their fears are and their secret desires, and what it is that actually helps them with their buying decisions. So that's why creating a bit of a niche is such a great way to go, and looking at who your ideal customer avatar is. Now, if you want to go down the brand archetype route, there are some really, really good tools online that you can go through. All you need to do is just do a little bit of a search on a brand archetype. But again, for a small business owner, actually just creating your ideal customer from that one client who you know that if you had 10 of them, your business would be booming, is the way to go. And you really need to lock in, what their underlying fears are, so that when you're creating your message, you know that you can actually create your message to speak to that. And the reason that you do that is that it actually, creating your customer avatar actually helps you tap into the emotional aspects of your marketing efforts. And it actually helps you understand why maybe some of your services sell better, or even why some of your posts resonate and you might get more engagement and more comments and more likes and shares. So it's tapping into, what your ideal client wants and needs at the time. And that is the fastest way to create transformation in your business, by actually speaking to the emotional needs, because we are, as human beings, emotional creatures. As I've said before, marketing isn't about online or offline. It's about building relationships. It's about creating relationships and speaking to your ideal customer. So if you sell to businesses, when you're actually working out your customer avatar, you need to include what industry your ideal clients are in, how many employees they have, what their average annual revenue would be. Because there's no point, if you are selling to businesses, targeting someone that's doing a turnover of X amount of million, but you're not able to service them. If you're selling to end users or to customers, then you need to have a look at the relevant demographic information, such as their age, education, household income, family status, and what their dreams and goals are. Once you've got that locked down, you can actually personalize your branding. And once you know your personality type, or the personality type of your ideal customer avatar, then it makes it so much easier to communicate and to engage with your target market. Your customers then, because they feel heard and they feel valued, embrace your brand and will start engaging with your brand and start building that relationship. If there's nothing else that you take away from the video today, sit down and start putting down on paper what type of personality you would like your brand to reflect and you would like your brand to speak to. The second way of growing your brand is by creating videos and communicating as an expert. Your message might be great, but video is one of the fastest, most effective ways for people to absorb information. You build credibility, you communicate to your audience, and it actually helps you show up as the expert in your field. The reason for this is that video is a lot more engaging. Let's face it, if you have to sit down and read a 500-word article or 3 or 4 pages of something, as opposed to sitting and watching a video for a couple of minutes, which one are you going to choose? That's where videos are so good. Videos engage our senses more than any other form of content, because when we're doing things online, we can't feel, taste or smell anything, but seeing and hearing it is the next best thing. So video also equals better social reach. Social video generates actually 1,200% more shares than text and images combined, and it gets more people sharing your brand. And the more people that are sharing your brand, the better. Not only that, video is one of the easier ways of telling your brand story, because you can actually effectively leverage your exposure, and it allows potential customers to discover your brand just by watching. The final thing about video is that it builds trust. And trust is the foundation of business, and especially business online, because people generally don't get to see you face to face. So it's the foundation of doing conversions and sales. And building trust really shouldn't be the goal in itself, because ultimately you're in business to make money. But the whole concept of content marketing and building your brand is based on trust and creating long-term relationships. If you stop selling and provide interesting and useful information, you'll find people will engage with you a lot more. And when they're ready for your services, they will then actually work with you. And then the final thing is to be authentic and to be consistent. The most important thing in branding is to be the real, authentic you. There's nothing worse, and I've found this a couple of times recently, where I've followed somebody online for years and then I've got to meet them in person, and they're very different in person to what they portray online. And there's a disconnect because it doesn't quite align. And the minute that happens, trust is lost completely. As a business owner, if you are showing up and you're wanting to build your brand, you've got to be authentic and you have to be consistent, because authenticity is actually what's going to get you where you deserve to be. Aligning your brand values and your branding ideas with your core values and your own persona is actually what's going to help you with your connections. And then finally, you've got to do what you can to be consistent. Now, if you're not too sure how to create your brand and how to start pulling it together, I'll put a link underneath this to a branding and messaging workbook that I have on my resources page. You're welcome to download it and just run through the exercises, because that will actually help you lock down your ideal client and lock down your branding and your messaging, so that when you show up, you're actually showing up a lot more consistently. And there's also quite a few other resources on there that will actually help you when it does come to being consistent. There's also a social media checklist that you can actually use as you're creating your content so that you don't miss anything. And it does actually help to start making you more accountable to showing up online. Finally, if you have any questions, or if any of this doesn't make any sense, or you just want to reach out and have a chat and get a better understanding of how this all works, then make sure you comment below or message me. I'm happy to have a chat and see how I can help you and help you grow your business. And then finally, if you really like to attract your soulmate clients who simply get you, then I also have a branding and messaging online course that's launching in the next week. As soon as it's live, I'll actually put that link down below as well. And that's actually 6 modules that will help you step through exactly how to outline your branding, your messaging, and it goes right through all the other fun stuff like images, colors, fonts, the works. In the meantime, guys, I hope that has been of some value to you today. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you again next week. If you'd like to learn more about business growth using digital marketing and actually just growing your business online, make sure that you click the subscribe button below and click the bell so that you don't lose or miss any of the videos that we put up weekly.